Tales of Revenge. I just need to explain a few things before you get to the stories. I am a ghost writer, not like what celebrities have, more of that later, but I am a ghost who writes what other people say. Yes, that is a bit like a ghostwriter, but oh, never mind. We have had a bad press over the years, mostly from horror films and some of our rowdier phantoms, so we wanted to share a few laughs with people as we tell our tales. Jack and the Dentist. Jack was missing his teeth. They had been partly removed by his dentist, who realised that treatment paid more than the little he earned from patients with just gums. However, there came a time in their lives when he had to remove their molars and money before it was too late. He was a monster. Jack started telling his account. His name was Philip, but we called him Phil McCavity, and he had a dental nurse we named Floss. After his work, he would look at his surgery to make sure that it was ready for the next day, that would be the same as every other one, including using his floss, if you get my drift. When he got home, he would tell his wife that he had had a dull day. Every time his wife would ask, "Oh, was it boring?" Phil replied, "Yes, it was. I've been drilling holes, you silly girl." He answered with the same reply every evening. The joke was funny the first time, but after 30 years it had become as thin as the veneer on the insides as he charged a fortune to recoat. Today was really tedious. It's the same every day, getting people to sit open their gobs so I can peer down on rotten teeth, oozing gums, great lumps of muck between the pearly knots of whites, and then fiddle about, using my prodders and little mirror and mouths always give me the same view, ruins and wrecks. One day when I went to see him, he told me that I needed a crown. Asked how much it would cost, and it shocked me. He told me lots of stuff about what would happen if I did not have it, so I agreed. During the session, he discovered I needed 2 more. Then, later on in the month, I would need an additional one. It cost me a fortune, but I was told it was essential. Well, when I had my 4 crowns that cost as much as a royal one would have, he told me I needed my other teeth removed. I had just had my 65th birthday, and I wanted to look good for my wife, children, and grandkids. I would need dentures, he told me, and he measured, set gum to make the mould in my mouth as he had for my crowns, and then made an appointment for the removals. He took out 20 teeth at once, and he charged for each one. My crowns were removed and discarded. I'd only had them for 4 months. I got my new teeth, and I showed them off with pride up until 2 months afterwards. I had my heart attack and died. Looking back, I was very upset that I was buried without my new teeth, and I hovered around, as we do, to watch what that man was up to. I saw that he and Floss were an item. He gave her fillings that she liked, and he spent his ill-earned gains on keeping her happy as he had to, or she would tell his wife. I was also able to look at my records, and none of the treatments he gave me were necessary. He crowned my teeth and removed my good choppers for nothing. When I say nothing, it cost me a fortune. I wanted revenge, like no other revenge that I could revenge with. Sorry, I repeated, but I wanted revenge badly. Ghosts rarely get tired, but this cloud of phantoms were yawning. Get on with it. It was Rodney this time. Dolores was the only one enjoying the story. So, what I did to get my revenge, I guess, Rodney interrupted, was I chatted to some of my pals up here and worked out a plan. Get on with it. Dolores couldn't hold back either. One day, and you might not believe this, we got a great white shark to disguise itself as a teenager who had been advised to have a brace even though he had perfect teeth that shone when he smiled. Phil put his fingers in the mouth, and that is where they stayed even after he had removed his hand. The shark was happy to have a snack and moved out of the chair to consume the other digits on both hands. As for the shark, it decided it did not need a brace after all and went back to the sea in search of fish fingers, or sticks as they are called in America. He had to explain the joke but decided to ignore the one about tentacles on squids. And there is more. None of the ghosts laughed as they all wondered how the hell they got a shark to dress up. As if reading their thoughts, Jack continued, "See, I told you that you wouldn't believe me." He laughed. "Of course we didn't use a shark. We used something else. But if you don't want to know what we did, I will not tell you about the best payback ever." "I think we have heard enough." Rodney was fed up and shouted out, "Boring." "Yes, I've just been drilling holes." Jack had the last word, thank goodness. "I would like to know," said Belladonna. She had more than a passing curiosity about teeth, having been bitten. "One day we set up a ghost in human shape who, together with a film crew, visited the surgery, asked Floss if she would tell Phil that there was a business opportunity that he would like to hear, supposedly from an advertising agency. They offered a big deal. They were invited in and explained that they had a new revolutionary silent sonic toothbrush and the toothpaste that worked with it. They said that as he was a world-renowned dentist, he would receive a huge fee to praise the products and demonstrate their use on film as part of a television commercial. He agreed, the fee first, and then putting on a new white gown, he set himself in front of the camera. Sound levels were taken, the lights adjusted, and Donald, the director, shouted, "Lights, camera, action!" Phil gently put toothpaste on the brush in a sexy way, he thought. He then moistened it, put the head into his mouth and started moving it around. He took it out after 2 minutes, amazed that there had been no noise or sensation of brushing. He smiled for the camera, spat into the small basin by the side of the big client's chair, and smiled again. "It really works well, but feels a bit gritty," he said, with a voice that was unfamiliar even to himself. "What a wonderful job it does in removing plaque." Donald replied, "That is why we call it the tooth vulture, the wonderful beast that clears and cleans out old dried-up trash and chucks it away." Phil walked to the mirror to admire himself. He opened his mouth and gasped. "Good, isn't it?" stated the film director as Phil screamed, "I have no teeth in my mouth. What happened?" He was fuming. All he had left was a red and sore gummy mass. No teeth at all. The sonic toothbrush was, in fact, something they used to polish diamonds, and within seconds they had ground his teeth to dust, unknown to Phil, because the toothpaste contained the most powerful local anaesthetic ever known. Donald reached into his small case, took out my false teeth, handed them over, and told Phil, these might come in useful. With that, the whole lot of the crew vanished in a puff. Floss had no recollection of the visit and thought that Phil had gone mad and had extracted all his own teeth. That is nearly the end, but the shark was, if you'll excuse me, a red herring. This time the rest of them did laugh, and Rodney gave Jack a thumbs up, and Bella asked if she could buy a toothbrush like that for a friend. Phil had been stumped. He never worked again and sold his surgery to another dentist and devoted his life to finding perfect dentures for other people, but always with himself in mind. The new man was more honest than Phil, and he noticed that Floss was poorly paid and was worried. In truth, her feelings came from thinking she was flat-chested in the eyes of a lot of men. So he increased her package and she used the extra money to enhance hers. They lived happily ever after, blessed by the Tooth Fairy.